TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's Top Story Countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
I feel like this collection is owned by the public. I look at myself as the guardian of the collection, and so it's important for me to continue to share this collection with the public. I am very proud that in this room you see some of the most important names of 20th century art, male and female, that were active in the region and beyond.
You were very intentional about ensuring that this was a gender-balanced exhibition. Just explain why.
Well, for me, it's important to show that women were also active in the mid-20th century, and they were active in many different forms of and materials of art, such as the use of batik, the use of brass, the use of ceramic, glassware, tapestry, and here you see sculpture. I feel like the gender imbalance in Western Museum is definitely something that we should not be emulating in other parts of the world. And I thought I have the opportunity to take a radical step and say no more. From now on, we will only be showing gender balanced displays across our exhibitions.
This collection here certainly has a social and political narrative. Just explain.
So there are several kinds of political art. There are artworks created by artists who were political artists, such as Khadija Riyad, who is shown behind you in this shot, who was an abstract Egyptian artist active since the 1930s. And Becky, she hosted in her home gatherings of the Art and Liberty group in Egypt, which was a radical leftist group that stood up for artists in Europe at the height of the Nazi suppression of artists before World War II. On the other hand, you have artists who created political depictions in their work, such as Layla Nasser of Syria, many others, Mona Hatoum, for example, of Palestine, and so many other women across the course of the second half of the 20th century, depicting political events that took place in the region through their material and their creations.
Sales of Middle Eastern art waned during the pandemic, but interest remains high among collectors.
What's the market like for interest in Middle Eastern art at present?
Well, the market is quite fascinating, because you do have world records that are being set by modern artists. You have works in the range of $1 to $2 million. It's still not at the tens of millions of dollars that you have with some Western and even some Asian artists over the past decade or so. However, with the Middle East, I'm very happy to see contemporary artists setting records. And so this, I think, is a reflection of the global interest in Middle Eastern art, and also I think a signal to young artists, Becky, that they can make a livelihood out of creating art.
You talk about using an exhibition like this to knock back the misperceptions or misconceptions about the region's art. What do you mean by that? What are the misunderstandings, and what are you doing through this exhibition to address those?
Well, there's a lot of misconceptions about, for example, the rights of minorities in the region historically, which is why we emphasize, for example, on religious minorities. In all our exhibitions, we show works by the Christian minority in the Arab world, the Baha'i minority in the Arab world, the Jewish minority. We have artworks by both male and female Jewish artists in this exhibition, sexual minorities, ethnic minorities. It's very important that this is an inclusive view of the region, because when I look back at the history of the Arab world, I see that we did a lot of good things in the 20th century, but we made a lot of mistakes as well. So going forward, how can we reflect the cosmopolitan nature of the Arab world in the mid-20th century that included all these diverse minorities and diverse groups, while rectifying and correcting the mistakes that the majority had maybe done towards these minorities.
Like the Advocate channel on Facebook for the best way to get updated stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's top 2 pick.
Downed trees and significant damage in parts of Massachusetts after at least 2 tornadoes tore through the state Tuesday, according to the National Weather Service. Roughly 1,700 miles to the west in Oklahoma.
I was sitting on my couch just watching TikTok, and I felt something. It felt like kind of like a boom.
In Tuttle, Oklahoma, heavy gusts from a storm picked up a mobile home and sent it crashing into a parked car. Crews are also dealing with fallen power lines.
Just having to clean up all the damage, because we got damage to our fences over there too.
So far this year, the U.S. has had 15 disasters that have each resulted in more than $1 billion worth of damage. According to the National Centers for Environmental Information, that's the most billion-dollar disasters in a single year since it began tracking these events in 1980.
This tree's completely uprooted going off to the northeast. The storm is going this way, but if you go to the other side of the street, you see snapped and topped and twisted and mangled trees over there.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says the damage done by the wrath of Mother Nature cost at least $177 billion in 2022 and more than $1 trillion between 2016 and 2022.
I'm 55 years old, and I've never seen a tornado or straight line winds like this before in my life, and I've lived here for that long.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Follow the Advocate channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. We're now at our number 1 story of the day. Take a look.
Tonight, 3 people charged so far as police give new accounts of a brawl where the video has gone viral. Footage showing several white people beating a black man on a dock in Montgomery, Alabama. 3 white men, one in his 40s, the other 2 in their 20s, have been charged with third-degree assault. The fight seemed to break down along racial lines. The Montgomery police chief says the police, FBI, and prosecutors looked into whether there was enough information to charge for a hate crime or inciting a riot, but he says the actions did not meet that criteria.
As they continue to evaluate the video, speak to witnesses, that they very well change, because that may give them a sense of the state of mind of the parties involved.
The incident occurred this past Saturday evening at a riverside dock in Montgomery. Police say it started when a group of white boaters in a small pontoon boat refused to move their boat so that the riverboat cruise vessel the Harriet II, with more than 200 on board, could dock at its designated space. Police say the co-captain of the Harriet II, a black man identified as Damian Pickett, was ferried to the dock and tried to get the pontoon boaters to move their vessel. This video showing Pickett arguing with a white man who was with the group connected to the pontoon boat.
The owners of the boat confronted him in a very hostile manner. There was words exchanged, and then it turned into a fistic encounter that you've all seen. So the co-captain was doing his job.
The video shows as Pickett is arguing with that white man, another white man, shirtless, rushes in and hits Pickett in the face. Then several other white people join in. Pickett is pinned to the ground as they're seen beating on him.
The co-captain did receive treatment at a local hospital the night of the event. That's the only knowledge that we have of anybody receiving any injuries.
At one point, a man from the cruise boat is seen swimming toward the dock. Moments later, according to witnesses, the brawl expanded when the Harriet II docked. People who were on board the Harriet II started engaging with the people on the pontoon boat.
I knew once that boat hit that dock, excuse my language, but all hell was going to break loose. I already knew it was going to be handled.
One black man, who police say swung a folded chair at people from the pontoon boat, is being asked to contact police.
Thanks for watching the Advocate Channel's top stories. We're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow, like, and share, or check out advocatechannel.com for even more stories that advocate for you.